Welcome to episode 3 of Making a Roguelike. I have realized that at the start, the way we make the maps from then is a little bit not of what it's gonna work out for a roguelike. So we're gonna change in this video, add the HP system and basically clean a lot of things up. So there's 2 more episodes for this. I'm planning to end it on episode 4, and that's when I'm gonna be closing everything. So let's get started. So here's the old one we were working on, but first let's fix things that we need to change now. So firstly, with the arrows, if you go into the game, you can spam the arrows with no cooldown at all. So what we're basically gonna do is we're gonna make a small cooldown so people can't shoot arrows that fast. So let's first go on to the attack button. Then basically what we're gonna do now is we're gonna make a timer that basically once it ends, it's gonna allow you to shoot again, and that's gonna create the delay. So to do this, we're gonna say, firstly, we're gonna make a local. Well, it's gonna be way to limit cooldown anything, and I'm gonna keep it at 0. Then we're gonna create a new rule, and we're gonna say, when it's created, we're gonna say repeat every n seconds, and it's gonna modify the variable, and it's gonna be wait to 1. So every 1 second is going to modify to 1, but we're not going to make a 1 second cooldown. That's a little bit long. I'm going to make it 0.4. You can make it 0.5, whatever you want. I'm making 0.4. And then we're going to leave it like that. Just make sure it's a local variable that you're resetting. Then we're going to go on the tab that we made here. When it taps, it tells actor to create. We're going to remove the if function for the enemies because we're going to be changing how that works now. And then we're going to make a new if function. Then above here, we're going to say if the variable was going to be the wait local variable, we're going to say if it is greater or equal to 1, it's going to create the arrow. So now it's going to look like this, and once we go in the game, we can see there's a cooldown. It's not too much, but you can't spam crazy like last time. And if you want to, you can go back and change it. Like, let's say you want to make it a little bit slower, so I'm going to make 0.6, and this repeat number, you can make it any number you want. The higher the number, the higher the cooldown, and then you can rest at any amount. So once we've done that, we're gonna make the arrow issue. So once we kill every enemy, we can see that the arrow now, it just creates and sits here. It doesn't modify rotation, doesn't move or anything because there's no enemies alive, of course. So now to fix that problem, we're gonna go on the arrow. Now basically what we're doing is we're gonna say when there's no enemies alive, we're gonna make it just modify the rotation to the rotation of the character, and it's just gonna go straight in that direction. Because right now, as you can see, it's moving closest enemy, but if there's no enemy, it can't move to the closest enemy. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this, and because we made in the previous episode enemy's variable, what tracks when the enemy is created and when it's destroyed, it modifies the enemy variable to 1 more or 1 less. We can go back to the enemies and just say when it's created here, it'll add 1 enemy. And what I'm going to do is just going to add a wait function, because sometimes it doesn't work fully. Once the enemy is created, it modifies the enemies to 1. So I'm just going to make it the lowest amount I can wait. And then we can go back to the arrow now and say when it's created, it's going to have an if function, and it's going to say when the deck variable enemies is 1 or greater than 1, it's going to move towards the enemy. But then we're going to add an else. If it's not that, then we're going to say modify the rotation of the arrow to be the rotation of the character. That's what we want. So we're going to say the behavior property of the rotation of the actor that created me, and then below that we're going to say move towards my own angle, because we changed the direction it's rotated to its own rotation, and it's going to move in that direction. So we're going to make this 7 because we made the other one 7 as well. So now when there's no enemies, the arrows is just going to go in the direction the character's facing. Once there is enemies, then they'll switch back. And also on the arrows, we're just going to want to create a way for it to get destroyed. So we're going to say when created, it's going to wait 1 second, and it's going to destroy the actor because it'll have enough range. This is just to help with lag if you have so much arrows and things like that. And the last thing we're going to fix before we get to adding new features, we're going to go back to the enemy, and to make this attack better, because right now it creates at the exact X coordinate and Y coordinate when it attacks. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to what we have here when this gains attack, and we're going to say it's going to create enemy blueprint, empty blueprint 7. What is the attack? We're going to say not create a relative position, but we're going to say a relative angle and distance, because what we're going to do here is we're going to modify the distance to 0.5, and this is going to just create the enemy attack in front of the enemy instead of directly on it. So if we go to the enemy attack here and it's normal, and then we make it visible. Now when an enemy attacks us, we can see that it creates in front of the enemy, so we don't have to make this attack that big anymore. So what we can do is we can go here, make it to 2 width scale and 1 height, and now as you can see, it's just going to create in front of the actor and it's going to work like normal. So what I'm going to do is just make the width also 2, so it creates a square, what will basically work very similar, and just attack the enemy like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to change up the map. As you can see, we already have walls and floors, but there's a different way we can do it what's going to be way better and way easier to customize. So what we're going to do is basically we're going to create actors that's going to have walls, and it's going to be separated in 5x5 blocks, and that's going to be a customizable way to make our map. Let me make one and then show you example. So here's what I created, and basically as you can see, this is just has a collision of the shapes I made on top of it, and the lighter part is the walls, and then the shapes 2 layer is the floor. So the wall's gonna have their own collision. As you can see, I made square collisions for it, and then I scaled it up to 5. So the width and the height is 5. And another thing we can do is we're gonna say when created, it can move the actor back. So basically what this does is it's just a very easy way to make maps and different things. So you can walk on it, and then you have walls as well here that you first have to make solid, and once you make it solid, you can't walk into the walls, but you can walk into the actual building, and you can make different variations of this. You can make one with different entrances, you can make one without walls, you can make one with just a straight wall. So I'm going to create a few variations and I'll be back with you. So now I've made a lot of variations of the different wall types you can make, but there's still way more stuff you can make. This is just like quite basic ones. I made 8 different ones. So we of course had the starting one, then one with 1 less exit, one with only 2 exits, and then one with 1 exit. This could be like an item here, and then you can connect these by rotating and stuff like that, depending on what you choose to do. And then we have ones with single walls. This is if you want to make a bigger room than just the 5x5. You can use these wall different items and then use this for when it's out in the open. One thing I'm going to do though is, as you can see, if you rotate this, the floor pattern changes and you can tell it's rotated. So to fix this, we're actually going to create and use this empty one here, and basically what they're going to do is they're just going to create this empty one without walls or collisions right behind it, and then the wall's going to be on top, and then I'm just going to go on these actors and I can delete this shapes or just make it not visible. So I'm going to quickly do that. So once you've done all that, it should look like this, and then on every actor you can just say and go into this when created. You can say when created, you're going to move to the back, and you're going to say when created, it's going to create this floor, and then you're going to click on here where it says none, and then you're going to click here to say created behind this actor. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to create that floor behind the actor. We're going to copy and paste and remove this on all these, and then we're going to see how it looks. So once you're done adding on everything, the when it's created should look like this, where the floor is created behind the walls. And now we can actually make our map since everything's in order. So I'm going to quickly use all these layouts to make a quick map, and then I'll see you guys then. So after you're done creating it, it should look like whatever you made your map like, but for me, I just made it like with different sections, and then there's a path to this end section. What is going to be, we're going to make a boss battle later on in episode 4. So if we play now and we can walk through the map, whatever you made your map, it doesn't matter. So you can make a map and then walk through, and then you can put stuff there or whatever. So with the enemies, to make them actually work, because if you put an enemy, let's say I put an enemy over here and now I walk, like let's say I was in the thing, the enemy here is going to be stuck here. So because we don't have pathfinding or anything, what we're going to do is we're going to say when a character gets close enough to the enemy, it's going to alert the enemy to chase only when the character gets close, so the enemy can actually not get stuck on walls and stuff that easily. So to do this, we're going to say on the enemy, we're going to scroll down to the moving rule we have here, and we're going to say it's going to repeat move to the character if it has the tag go, and it's going to basically activate this tag go once a character is close enough. So above, we're going to say when it's created, if expression meets condition, and we're going to say for this, if the distance between 2 actors, and it's going to be myself and the closest actor with the tag character to just see if it's close enough to the character. And then we're going to say less or equal than, we're going to say 5 for now. We could bump it up, but I'm just going to say 5. So basically once it comes close enough into the 5-meter radius of the enemy is gonna charge and attack the character. So it's gonna say, we made the if function here, and we're gonna say if it is, it's gonna add tag go, because we made an if function to make it move if it has a tag go. So now after we've done that, we're gonna say repeat this every seconds. So now if we go into the actual thing here and we get close enough to the enemy will start following. A better example is the enemies right here, and we just walk a little bit forward, and will only follow once that character is close. So that's how we're going to place the enemy and make the difficulty and kind of level of the roguelike dungeon thing. So I'm going to place a few enemies real quick. And before I finish with that, there's one issue with the arrows. If you come to an enemy, they get, let's say, stuck on the wall or something, you can actually shoot through the walls. But we fixed this in the previous one with our previous walls, because the walls we made before, it just said when it collides with the arrow, it's going to destroy the arrow. So we're just going to take that code and we're going to put it onto all these walls. So now the character can't shoot the arrows through because it didn't get deleted once it collides. So what we're going to do to fix the arrows going through the walls, instead of making the wall destroy the arrow, we're going to make the arrow just get destroyed if it collides with something with a tag. So we're going to add on all our walls. It's going to have the tag deleter. You can name it any tag you want, but we're going to add this onto all the walls and kind of solid environments we made real quick. Once they all have the tag deleter now, what we're going to do is we're going to go on the arrow, and then on the arrow we're going to say when this collides with an actor with the tag deleter, it's going to destroy itself. So this will work because no matter how much arrows you shoot, it'll always get destroyed on the walls. So I'm gonna quickly just place some enemies throughout the thing now. Like, you can make some rooms have multiple enemies, you can make some rooms have no enemies. It doesn't really matter. So I just finished placing down all the enemies. I'm gonna save this for later on, but now we're just gonna make the HP system. And how we're gonna do that is we're gonna say on the character, it's gonna basically, you see the HP, local HP, it's gonna modify it to the deck variable so we can see the HP. So first we're gonna make the deck variable, and this deck variable is going to be named HP. Then we're going to say on the character, when it's created, it's going to modify the variable, it's going to modify the deck variable to the local variable of HP that it has, and we're going to say as often as we can, so repeat every second. And to see the actual HP, we have to make a text, and then we're going to place down a text, and we're going to make it $HP or whatever we named it, the variable. I'm going to say $HP, and I'm going to make mine red. After we made it, we can leave it at that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and say HP and then colon and just make a space. So this allows you to see the HP and the amount the HP is. So what we're going to do as well is we're going to make it scroll down and press relate to camera. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger as well, and I'm going to orientate it to the left side to right side and middle. So now we can place in the top right corner and it'll stick to the camera. If we move it to top, it sticks to the camera. So now you can see your HP you have. Once you get attacked by a zombie, your HP goes down. Once it gets to 0, you die and the card resets. And last thing we're going to do is we're going to add a healing item. So for this, we're just going to create a new actor. We're going to make the design of the actor real quick. You can make it anything you want, but I'm going to make it like a little potion. So once you make that, you can go here and say when this collides with character, it's going to modify the value of a variable, and you're going to say the HP of the local variable of the closest actor with the tag character, and it's going to say 1 and make it relative, so plus is 1 once you collect it. I'm going to make it 10, not 1, because that seems better. But you can make it any amount you want, any design you want. I'm going to place a few down. So once the character walks over it, it gets HP. What we're going to do is say once it gets collided, it's going to destroy the actor, so you can't infinitely get heals from it. And then I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. So now once you walk in and you collect it, it gives you HP. So you can put a lot of those throughout the map. But this is what we've done so far. And in next episode, we're going to finish up, clean up, and package the game for release. And you guys can customize anything. So thank you guys so much for the support. See you guys next time, and bye bye.